Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajaka Astoto that Sri Śrīmad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajaka Astoto that Sri Śrīmad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavindra Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Sri Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. All glory to the assembled devotees. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. How's it? Oh, something here? Okay, I'm waiting for my iPad and we can begin. Today's a special day. There's a lot of important holidays today. It is the appearance day of Śrī Radha-Raman Devaji. This is a special deity, self-manifested deity from a stone known as the Shila, or the Narayan Shila. And it's also the appearance day of Śrī Madhavendra Puri, who was the spiritual master of the devotee who took the role of Lord Chaitanya's spiritual master, Ishvara Puri, very important figure in our line. Srinivasacharya's appearance day. He is a very important figure in the first generation of preachers of Krishna consciousness. It's also this appearance day of Parameshri Das Thakur, but I think we'll read about him tomorrow. It's not just a little bit. So I wanted to chant this special verse. This is a verse by Madhavendra Puri, and it has a wonderful introduction here. So we'll try to chant this verse together. This is a kind of a very, very key verse for understanding Krishna consciousness, and especially Gaudiya Vaishnava consciousness. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ai Dina Dayadra Natehe Mathurā Nata Kadavalokise Vidiyam Tvadaloka Kataram Daita Brahmyati Kim Karom Yaham. Okay. So, let me turn this on. All right, I don't need that. Aidina Dayadhanata He Mathurā Kadavalokise Vidiyam Tvadaloka Kataram Daita Brahmati Kinkaromyaham. Ahidina Dayadhanate Mathurā Kadavalokise Vidiyam Tvadaloka Kataram Daita Brahmati Kinkaromyaham. Go ahead. Aidina Dayadhanate Mathurā Kadavalokise Vidiyam Tvadaloka Kataram Daita Brahmati Kinkaromyaham. Aidina Dayadhanate Mathurā Kadavalokise Vidiyam Tvadaloka Kataram Daita Brahmati Kinkaromyaham. Aidina Dayadhanate Mathurā Kadavalokise Yam Tvadaloka Kataram Daita Brahmati Kinkaromyaham. Ladies. Aidina Dayadhanate Mathurā Kadavalokise Vidiyam Tvadaloka Kataram Daita Brahmati Kinkaromyaham. Anyone want to try it? Okay, that's all right. We'll work on it later. But we're kind of short of time because there's a lot of things to cover. No offense. All right, I'll give you word by words. I.e., O my Lord Krishna, Dina, on the poor, Daya Ardra, compassionate, Nata, O Master, Hey, O, Mathurā, the Master of Mathurā, Kada, when? Avalokise, I shall see you. Vidiyam, my heart. Tvat, of you. Aloka, without seeing. Kataram, very much aggrieved. Dahita, almost beloved. Brahmyati, becomes overwhelmed. Kim, what? Karomi, shall do. Aham, I. So, it doesn't say here, but this is Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī calling out to Krishna. She's in Vṛndāvana, he's left and gone to Mathurā. If you read Krishna book, you'll read about that. So this is a verse of deep separation. O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathurā, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now? Srila Prabhupada's purport. The uncontaminated devotees who strictly depend on the Vedanta philosophy are divided into 4 sampradayas or transcendental parties. Out of the 4 sampradayas, the Śrī Madhvacharya sampradaya was accepted by Madhavendra Puri, who we'll read about in a minute. Thus he took sannyas according to Parampara, the disciplic succession. Beginning from Madhvacharya down to the spiritual master of Madhavendra Puri, the Acharya named Lakshmipati, there was no realization of devotional service in conjugal love of Krishna. Sri Madhavendra Puri introduced the conception of conjugal love for the first time in the Madhvacharya Sampradaya. And this conclusion of the Madhvacharya Sampradaya was revealed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he toured South India and met the Tattvavadis, who supposedly belonged to the Madhvacharya Sampradaya. When Śrī Kṛṣṇa left Vṛndāvana and accepted the kingdom of Mathurā, Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, out of ecstatic feelings of separation, expressed how Krishna can be loved in separation. Thus, devotional service in separation is central to this verse. Worship in separation is considered by the Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya to be the topmost level of devotional service. According to this conception, the devotee thinks of himself as very poor and neglected by the Lord. Thus he addresses the Lord as Dina Dayardra Nata, as did Madhavendra Puri. Such an ecstatic feeling is the highest form of devotional service. Because Krishna had gone to Mathurā, Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī was very much affected, and she expressed herself thus, quote, "My dear Lord, because of your separation, my mind has become overly agitated. Now tell me, what can I do? I am very poor, and you are very merciful, so kindly have compassion upon me, and let me know when I shall see you." Close quote. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always expressing the ecstatic emotions of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī that she exhibited when she saw Uddhava at Vṛndāvana. Similar feelings experienced by Madhavendra Puri are expressed in this verse. Therefore, Vaishnavas in the Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya say that the ecstatic feelings experienced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his appearance came from Sri Madhavendra Puri through Ishvara Puri. All the devotees in the line of the Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya accept these principles of devotional service. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Śrī Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Śrī Parampara. So before I say anything, I'd like to just read a little bit of the intro in the CC itself to this verse. So, there's just some backstory for Madhavendra Puri. So he was a wandering mendicant, and he came to Vṛndāvana, and he wouldn't beg anything. He wouldn't beg any food. He was so humble, you know, whatever came naturally he would take, which is a very advanced platform, very renounced, you can imagine. And so he was chanting Hare Krishna, and this young boy came with a nice little jar or a bucket of milk for him, some, you know, container of milk. And he offered it to him, and he said that his mother or these other ladies told him to come and give him the milk like that. So he accepted the milk because it was, and he drank it, and then he realized, oh my God, that was Krishna himself coming to give me this milk. And so he was ecstatic by that, obviously. And I think I think it was later that he broke the pot of another case in which Krishna had stolen some sweet rice. Chirachora Gopinath. Chirachora means sweet rice thief. And Gopinath in that temple got that name from this pastime of hiding a little pot of they used to serve 12 pots of exquisite sweet rice that was famous around India. And so Madhavendra Puri he had a deity. It's a whole pastime. I don't have time to about how he had found well, actually, I'll just say it because it ties in with this earlier part. So later that night, when Madhavendra was asleep, Krishna came to him in a dream and told him, I've been very hot. It was because I've been buried in this forest. In the forest, when the Muslims came, they were wrecking deities, and so they were either taken out of Vṛndāvana or sometimes buried, to prevent the deity. So the deity came and said, "This is where I'm located." Madhavendra woke up and he said, "Oh, okay." So he took some of the other Vrijvasis there, men, and they went out, and sure enough, there was deity buried there. He excavated that deity, and they actually built a temporary temple. They had villagers from all around giving so much food, foodstuffs that they could then cook and offer to the deity. So it was quite a experience. It's all described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And eventually, he had another dream. And the deity told him, I'm very hot now. You have to go to Jagannath Puri, which is a long walk. There were no trains, there was nothing, and he wouldn't. This is what the mendicant stood from. You know exactly where this Chirachora. What is the name of the town? Ramuna, is it? Ramuna. But that's quite a ways from Puri, right?
It's like 2 hours from Puri. Before.
Yeah, 2 hours drive. How long does it take to walk there? He's walking. Anyway, it's a long, long walk. It's a big travel. So he had this dream, and he took the assignment. Okay, my Lord wants sandalwood paste, which they had in quantity there in Puri, so he went there. There were a lot of, he had to go through various checkpoints and things and everything. And he finally came, and it was like 80 pounds of sandal paste. So he had some other devotees help him carry it, I think, but it was a big burden. So he stopped again in Ramuna. And again he had a dream. The Lord kept coming to him in dreams and said, you don't have to go all the way back to Vṛndāvana with this sandalwood paste, because I and Chirachora Gopinath are one. This was the Gopal deity in Vṛndāvana. So you can just have it smeared on me there and I'll feel cool over here. So he said, okay, that's the order of my Lord. So he stayed there in Ramuna. So this is the statue of Madhavendra Puri. The Lord would repeatedly appear to him. He was so a wonderful devotee. So this is just the last verse before that. With great trouble, after much labor, Madhavendra Puri brought the load of sandalwood to Ramuna. However, he was still very pleased, and he discounted all the difficulties. And then this is Lord Chaitanya telling this story. To test the intense love of Madhavendra Puri, the Supreme Lord ordered him to bring the sandalwood from Nilachala, that's Puri. And then when Madhavendra Puri passed this examination, the Lord became very merciful to him. And just like what I said, he came to him in dreams and said, you don't have to carry it back because we're the same deity, so you can just have it. And you can imagine the pujaris there in Ramuna, because it's summer month, the deity is very hot and the sandalwood is very expensive. They had all this first-class sandalwood now to smear on their deity, and they were very blissed by that. So now, this is the introduction in the CC of this verse, and listen to how important this verse is that we chanted. After saying this, Lord Chaitanya read the famous verse of Madhavendra Puri. That verse is just like the moon. It has spread the illumination all over the world. Continuous rubbing increases the aroma of Malaya sandalwood. Similarly, constant and repeated consideration of this verse increases one's understanding of its importance. Just as the Kaustubha money, this is an equivalent in English for that? The jewel, the Kaustubha money jewel, is considered the most precious of valuable stones. This verse is similarly considered the best of poems dealing with the mellows of devotional service. Actually, this verse was spoken by Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī herself, and by her mercy only was it manifest in the words of Madhavendra Puri. Only Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has tasted the poetry of this verse. No fourth person is capable of understanding it. So who are the three persons who understand? Only Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, Madhavendra Puri, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could fully understand this verse, and because the import of it, not the dictionary meaning. Madhavendra Puri recited this verse again and again at the end of his material existence. So he's lying on the bed ready to disappear, leave his body, and he's chanting this verse. Thus uttering this verse, he attained the ultimate goal of life. And then comes the verse. And so I won't go into it. So I just wanted to read now this little biography of Madhavendra Puri from the Veda base. So if you'll allow me, and we'll begin. And then I will probably read about Srinivasacharya, and then the appearance of Radha-Raman. That Radha-Raman is a name for a deity in Vṛndāvana. It means Krishna, the lover of Radha.
Who wrote the biography you're about to read?
Oh yes, it's a good. Sri Madhavendra Puri? Well, this is from that book that was compiled by Mahanidhi Swami. But the appearance, the story of the appearance of Radha-Raman was written by one of the pujaris there and included in the Bhakti Gita. Before Lord Chaitanya appeared, he sent his eternal associates like Sri Advaita Acharya, Sri Jagannath Mishra, Shachi Mata, Madhavendra Puri, Ishwara Puri to earth. Sri Madhavendra Puri took initiation from Sri Lakshmipati Tirtha in the Madhvacharya Sampradaya. He had many disciples, but Sri Advaita, that word is left out. He had many disciples, but Sri Advaita Acharya and Sri Ishwara Puri were the chief disciples of Madhavendra Puri. In one way or another, all the Vaishnavas in Bengal and Chaitya, that's Jagannath Puri, were connected with Sri Madhavendra Puri. After Lord Chaitanya came, many of his disciples joined Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. And this is a quote from Vṛndāvana Thakur in his Chaitanya Bhagavat. Madhavendra Puri's body was completely full of divine love. So were his followers' bodies. He displayed uncommon love of God. Seeing a dark blue rain cloud, he would fall down unconscious, being reminded of Krishna. Day and night, he was intoxicated from drinking the ambrosia of Krishna Prema, close quote. After making an extensive pilgrimage of Bharatabhumi, India, he passed his life in Vṛndāvana and Orissa. He began the restoration work of Vṛndāvana that Sri Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis continued later. Wandering from grove to grove, remembering Radha Krishna's sweet Vṛndāvana pastimes, Madhavendra Puri would faint in ecstasy. In a dream, Sri Gopal, Sri Gopal ordered Madhavendra Puri to uncover a buried Gopal deity and install him atop Govardhan hill. Madhavendra Puri celebrated Gopal's installation with an Annakuta, grand festival offering a mountain of food to Krishna. This Annakuta festival, also called Govardhan Puja, which is quite famous, we think we know what that means, right? Is one of the most important Vaishnava festivals in Vṛndāvana, in India and around the world. The original Gopal deity, known as Sri Nathji, is now worshipped in Nathdwar, Rajasthan. Madhavendra Puri introduced the conceptions of Madhurya Bhava, conjugal love, in the Madhvacharya Sampradaya. Madhavendra Puri sowed the seed of Prema Bhakti, and Lord Chaitanya became the towering tree, dropping honey-sweet fruits of Prema upon everyone. Madhavendra also revealed Viraha Bhava, the mood of love, relish, and separation from God. Okay, so I read about this already. And then he talks about the verse. All right. Okay. The Gaudiya Sampradaya teaches that worship of Radha and Krishna in separation represents the highest level of devotional service. At this stage of realization, the devotee feels completely, quote, vacant in the world in the absence of Krishna. Close quote. A moment without Madhava feels like a millennium. Lord Chaitanya always swam in the ocean of Divyonmada Mahabhava, the mad and ecstatic emotions shown by Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī in the Brahmara Gita, the Song of the Bee, in the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 1047. In this verse, Madhavendra Puri discloses similar emotions. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas conclude that the monsoon shower of ecstatic love exhibited by Lord Gauranga during his manifest pastimes began with Madhavendra Puri, and then came to Ishwara Puri, who played the role of Lord Chaitanya's spiritual master. Okay, so this is just a little bit about Madhavendra Puri and his famous verse. And when you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, let's put it that way, you'll soon come across this. Actually, right at the beginning, when you read the Mangalacharan, the introductory verses, there's that explanation of Lord Chaitanya's internal reasons for coming. Śrī Radhaya, what is it? Śrī Radhaya Padama? Radhaya. Pranayabhikutir. Śrī Radhaya Pranayabhikutir. Ladani Shaktidasmad. Ekatmana Babibhupada Deha Bedam Gatata. That's a different verse. The one that says how he wanted to understand the glory of Radharani's love for him and his love for her, and her appreciation of Krishna. Anyway, the internal reason what he wanted to, he's in the spiritual world, Krishna, and he looks in a mirror or in a shining wall in his palace there, and he sees his own reflection. And he says, oh, how beautiful. But I can't relish it as much as Radharani does. You know, she relishes much more than just myself. And then he says, and I cannot understand the mystery of her love for me. And I can't understand how she relishes my beauty and attraction and so forth. So for these reasons, Krishna appeared with the complexion and the mood of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī as Lord Chaitanya. This is the reason why Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya. The internal reason. The external reason was to save us, to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world through the chanting of the holy name. So that both of those reasons are there. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit. Next one is Srinivasacharya, a very important member of our sampradaya. And this is... Okay, so let me just increase the size here a little bit. After witnessing Lord Gauranga's sannyas ceremony at Katwa, Chaitanya Das and his pregnant wife visited Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri. Soon your wife will give birth to a son named Srinivas, said Lord Chaitanya, and through Srinivas all the Bhakti Shastras of Rupa and Sanatan will be distributed. Close quote. When his father left this world, Srinivas visited the remaining associates of Lord Gauranga in Katwa, Navadvip and Jagannath Puri. They blessed Srinivas and gave him valuable instructions for spiritual advancement. Seeing his absorption in Gauranga Prema, they knew he was an embodiment, quote, an embodiment of Gaur Shakti, the energy of Śrī Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Srinivas came to Vṛndāvana, toured the 12 forests, and took Diksha, initiation from Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Well, this is auspicious, because we're going to talk about Radha-Raman in a minute, and let's go. Sri Jiva Goswami taught him the complete philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Acknowledging his vast learning, Sri Jiva gave Srinivas the title Acharya. Accepting Sri Jiva's order, Srinivas and his two friends, Shyamananda Prabhu and Narottam Das Thakur, pioneered the first transcendental book distribution party. Brajbasi Sankirtan Party Ki Jai, says Mahanidhi Swami. They took a bullock cart of the Goswami's devotional writings from Vṛndāvana and passed them out all over Bengal and Orissa. Wait a minute, there's a little bit something missing there. So taking a cart means they're taking, you know, maybe maybe one other copy in Vṛndāvana. It was everything's handwritten on palm leaves. So I think it was Janava Mata, I heard, that she encouraged them, hey, you got to get these books copied and distributed. So that was in Navadvip. There was a center of learning where there was a lot of scribes, and they would copy, But they had to get it from Vṛndāvana to Navadvip, because it's a long bullock cart, a long walk with the speaker bullock cart, right? So Srinivas and Narottam Das Thakur, and who was the third one? There was Shyamananda Srinivas and Narottam, the three students of Jiva. So they had this book, this card with a treasure in it. One of only a couple of copies, original copies, if not the original copy. So they took the bullock cart. So then what happened is that they came to near this town, which I forget, but the king was named Virhamvir. I remember his name, which is powerful. I'm most powerful, And he was a Vaishnava. He would hear Bhagavatam every day, but the one who was teaching the Bhagavatam wasn't so good at it. But still, he was a Vaishnava, but he was also a king. So he had a group of thieves, and then he had an astrologer, and they would tell him if they're carrying something valuable, and then the thieves would go out and steal it. So the astrologers told him, oh, there's this party from Vṛndāvana that has this great treasure in their cart. You know, it's a treasure of literature. And so they went out at night. They didn't hurt anybody. But when they woke up in the morning, the books were gone from the cart, you know. And they were just crestfallen. Here they were trusted with these valuable books to go copy, and now they were gone, you know. So Srinivasa and Narottam were just devastated. So they just went on to Navadvip. But Srinivas, he said, well, maybe I can find them. You know, let's see. So he went and he found this town, Viramvir's place. And he just started hanging out. And then there was this Bhagavatam class. And so he attended the Bhagavatam class, you know, and he was a Vaishnava, obviously. And the king was there, and it started, but the speaker didn't know what he was talking about. And Srinivas could understand that, you know, because he was schooled. So then he asked the king, you know, he asked a very intelligent question, and the king was impressed. Oh, you know the Bhagavatam. So yes, and Srinivas said, maybe I could give the class tomorrow. So I said, okay. So he gave the class, and he gave the pure Vaishnava understanding. And the king was very impressed. So he invited him into his quarters, you know, and eventually he initiated the king. But before that, he said to the king, you know, we lost something recently, you know, something stolen. Do you happen to know about it? Yes, you know, my aides took it. So here's what it is, a bunch of books. So Srinivas was just overjoyed to see that. You can see that. And he told the king why. So the king took initiation, everybody in the town took initiation from Srinivas. So now they were all in Gaudiya Vaishnava. So then he very, you know, happily went on with the cart, got another cart, maybe a couple of aides from the king, and went on to Navadvip. And that's how we've got all these books of the Goswamis. We wouldn't have the NOD, the nectar of devotion, which is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, what to speak of the Chaitanya Charitamrita and everything. So that was a tremendous adventure. So then, just a little bit more about Srinivas. He preached mostly in Orissa, which means where Jagannath Puri is. Srinivasacharya initiated many disciples, Ramchandra Kaviraj and others, wrote songs full of bhakti, Sad Goswam Ashtakam, which is very famous, probably we sing it all the time. It's in the songbook. And introduced a special kirtan style. When leading kirtan, he would sometimes lose his voice from chanting so long. Besides his external activities of preaching and writing, Srinivasacharya practiced intensive Raganuga Bhajan. Raganuga Bhajan is the spontaneous internal worship of Radha and Krishna based on the mood and sentiments of the eternal residents of Vṛndāvana Dham, such as the gopis. While doing this Manasi Seva, service to Radha and Krishna within his mind in a mentally conceived spiritual form, he would often bring tangible paraphernalia from these meditations back with him upon returning to external consciousness. He's famous for this. Once Srinivas sat Lord Gauranga on a jeweled throne within his mind. Lord Gauranga had left the world by then. Then he worshipped the Lord with a golden-handled chamara whisk and 5-flower garland. Pleased with the service, Lord Chaitanya, in his internal service, offered the garland back to Srinivas, who then immediately awoke and lost the meditation. A surprised Srinivas found the sweetest flower garland he ever smelled hanging around his neck when he returned to external consciousness. We got a little ways to go with our flowers, fragrance. So, another time Srinivas was in his Siddha Sarup, his perfected original form, as a Mani Manjari, watching Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, Śrī Kṛṣṇa and the gopis in Holy Lila. That's where they throw colored powders. I don't know if you've seen, Charudas in Utah has pioneered that, and it's a very popular festival. Joyfully throwing colored powders and dyes on each other. The gopis told Mani Manjari to supply colors to Radhika and side with them in their war against Shama, that's Krishna. The earth shook from their furious battle. Srinivas's meditation abruptly broke. Naturally, his body was completely covered from head to toe with fragrant and exotic rainbow-colored powders imported from the spiritual world. Holy Lila ki jai. That's with an I. Holy is the throwing of the... It's also very holy. Srinivasacharya's samadhi is in Dhira Samira Samadhi's area. So that's Srinivasacharya. Then if you allow me one more. The appearance of Radha-Raman, which is quite amazing. First of all, Radha-Raman, a lot of devotees don't understand exactly what that means, Radha-Raman. There was a book, and it's still current, a big book of about deities from all over the world called Darshan, I think it was. And they went, and I'm being a BBT editor, I got to proofread the book. So there, I think it was in Italy somewhere, there's a temple, and the deity is Radha-Raman. But it's Radha and Krishna. And they thought that Raman is the name of Krishna, and Radha is Radha. And no, it's Radha-Raman is the name for Krishna. You see? So I was saying, well, we should change it to Radha-Raman, and they freaked out. They said, no, we know the deity is Radha-Raman. You know? So it's a name for Krishna, being Krishna, the lover of Radha. And there's a wonderful deity which we're going to hear how it manifested transcendentally, supernaturally. So again, it has to do with Madhavendra Puri. I'm sorry, this is Gopal Bhatta Goswami who had this. So this was written by Padmanabha Goswami, who was actually one of the main pujaris there in Radha-Raman. And they asked him to write this, and it was printed in the Bhakti in 1992, ways back. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited South India on his tour of the holy places, he visited the Sri Rangam temple. In front of the deity, he chanted and danced in ecstatic Sankirtan. The head priest of the Sri Rangam temple, Sri Venkata Bhatt, was very much impressed with Lord Chaitanya's love of God. After Mahaprabhu's kirtan, Venkata Bhatt invited the Lord to his house. There he requested Mahaprabhu to stay during the four months of Charitamrita, which was soon to start. Mahaprabhu, as a sannyasi, accepted his request. Just one background for those who know about Charitamrita. India, there's a rainy season where it's very rainy, and you have these mendicants who are just walking from place to place. You know, they're not taking the train or the cars, there's nothing like that. So they have to stop and find a place of shelter during that rainy season. And so they continue their bhajan, and of course they bless, whoever is able to host them is very much blessed. So Lord Chaitanya, he saw the devotion of Venkata Bhatt, so he agreed to stay there in his house for those 4 months. Venkata Bhatt directed his son, Gopal Bhatta, to render all kinds of services to Lord Chaitanya during this period. And Gopal Bhatta, with great sincerity, took care of Lord Chaitanya's every need. As a result, he received great benefit from Lord Chaitanya's association. Being pleased with Gopal Bhatta's devotion, so he's just a boy now, he's maybe 18, something like that. With Gopal Bhatta's devotional affection, Lord Chaitanya gave him initiation and ordered him that after the disappearance or death of his parents, he should go to Vṛndāvana to live there, performing bhajan, devotional service, and writing books. So his parents were great devotees, and he was the only one who could take care of them. So he said, you stay here until they depart, and then you go to Vṛndāvana. So at the age of his parents, after his parents had died, Gopal Bhatta went to Vṛndāvana. When he reached there, he heard that Lord Chaitanya had already visited Vṛndāvana and had returned to Puri. Hearing this, Gopal Bhatta was disappointed, thinking that Mahaprabhu had never ordered him to visit him in Puri. Lord Chaitanya, however, through Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, sent Gopal Bhatta his personal asan or seat and cloth as signs of his blessings and affection. Later, when Gopal Bhatta heard of the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya, he felt great separation from the Lord. But in a dream, Lord Chaitanya instructed him, if you want my darshan, if you want to see me, make a pilgrimage to Nepal. In Nepal, Gopal Bhatta visited the Gandaki river and took his bath there. Now this is the place where they, does everyone go up there, like forget Ramapati? They get the Shilas, right? Is that the river? So that's the one river where they get the Shilas, and we have some Shilas on the altar. They're just stones which are manifested in the Narayan, and they can be worshipped as deities. And also the Govardhan Shila in Govardhan. You can see he's giving and this is after all the Govardhan. In Nepal, Gopal Bhatta visited the Gandaki river and took his bath there. After his bath, he filled his water pot, but was surprised to see that some shalagram shilas, some stones, had entered into it. He emptied them back into the river and refilled his water pot. But again he saw some shalagram shilas had entered his water pot. He emptied one more time, and for the third time he saw that now 12 shalagram shilas were there. Thinking that this must be some mercy of the Lord, he decided to bring all the shalagram shilas back to Vṛndāvana. Gopal Bhatta gave initiation to Gopinath Das, a brahmachari who lived with him and rendered him all services. One day a wealthy man came to Vṛndāvana and offered Gopal Bhatta all kinds of dresses and ornaments for his shalagrams. Gopal Bhatta, however, told him to give them to somebody else, since his shalagrams were of a round shape, and therefore the dresses and ornaments could not be used. You don't really dress the shalagrams. You may paint them in so many ways, but there's only so much you can do with the stone. The incident made Gopal Bhatta think deeply. It was in the Shringa Chaturdasi. That's why this is happening. Just yesterday, 2 days ago. And Gopal Bhatta remembered how Lord Nrsimha, in his form as half man, half lion, came out of the pillar. Gopal Bhatta prayed to the Lord, "O Lord, you are very merciful. You fulfill all the desires of your devotees. I wish to serve you in your full form." He read the pastimes of Lord Nrsimhadev in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and after chanting in ecstasy, he fell unconscious. The next morning he woke to find that one of the 12 shalagrams, the Damodar Shila, had manifested as Śrī Radha-Raman, the lover of Radha, the lover of Krishna, the lover of Radha. He informed Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami. Gopal Bhatta started serving Śrī Radha-Raman. Now I have on this iPad, I have 6 photos of him. And one thing, before I continue, one thing that's most amazing, if you look, sometimes, but not always, he manifests his teeth, and you can see the teeth in his mouth. That's the only deity that you find that has teeth. And anyway, you'll see, there's some pastimes here, I think. So he informed Sanatana Goswami and Rupa. Gopal Bhatta started serving Śrī Radha-Ramanji. After some years, however, he became concerned, after his disappearance, who would continue the service of Śrī Radha-Raman. He asked Gopinath Das, his brahmachari disciple, to get married and take the service of Śrī Radha-Raman as a hereditary duty. Gopinath Das did not want to marry, but suggested his younger brother, who was already married. Gopal Bhatta agreed and initiated him. After the disappearance of Śrī Gopal Bhatta Goswami, this disciple, known as Damodar Das Goswami, continued the worship of Śrī Radha-Ramanji. Since then, the Goswami families descended from Damodar Das Goswami, and this is 500 years ago, descended from, and spiritually from Gopal Bhatta Goswami, have continued the worship of Śrī Radha-Raman very nicely in Vṛndāvana to this very day. Before preaching in the West, Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, was for many years a close friend of Sri Vishwambhar Goswami, an Acharya in the line of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Srila Prabhupada advised his devotees to learn the high standard of deity worship and Vaishnava etiquette from the Śrī Radha-Raman temple. Many times Srila Prabhupada visited the Śrī Radha-Raman temple and was very much impressed. So this Sri Vishwambhar Goswami, I think I met him. He came to America once, and he came to visit Philadelphia. I was living there and serving there. And I asked him some questions about some meters that I couldn't figure out in Sanskrit, and he was able to show me. I brought him to my place. But yeah, and this Radha-Raman, you know, sometimes he comes off the altar and he's dancing and so forth. There's a whole lot of pastimes around Sri Radha-Raman. And you see, the thing is, he's small. He's maybe this high at most, you know. And the other deities in Vṛndāvana, many of them were bigger than our deities even. And so like the Govinda deity, which Rupa Goswami installed in his temple, the Govinda temple. That deity was moved to Jaipur. Why Jai? Jai means victory. So while all these other cities and places were being conquered by the Muslims, that city was protected because there were mountains around it, and there was only one entrance. So it was a safe place. So the beautiful Govinda temple, unfortunately I never visited Jaipur, but it's the Govinda temple there is gorgeous and very well attended. Everybody in the town comes in practically in the morning for Mangalartik and everything. So that's, Govinda's there. But Radha-Raman being small, I could easily hide him, or even like bury him like the other Gopal deity in Vṛndāvana. And so therefore he was safe. And so that deity, that same deity is being worshipped now for 500 years by the same family. And someone told me, I haven't seen Ramapati, there's some flame that's been burning for all this time. They've kept the flame going, and then they use that to light the candles or something. So that's part of it. So it's getting late, and I know there's a lot here. And I didn't mention Parameshwari Das Thakur because it ran out of time. But we can read about him tomorrow. Śrī Radha-Raman ji ki jai, Madhya Puri ki jai, Srinivasacharya ki jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. And one other little note I forgot. When I came in this morning, the Dharma Seder was always in the back, and we go for obeisances. And I asked him, do you know this famous verse, Ayananda Madhya Puri's famous? Oh yes! We were told to learn it by Madhya Swami back when he joined in '75 in Boston, and Madhya was traveling. So he knows that. So if you want, I can show you where to find it, and you can all memorize it. Why not? Yes, Aidina Dayardhanatahi. It's there, Madhya 4:197. That's, yeah, right, thank you. You can find it on your phone.